I grew up hearing a sentence that glued itself to my bones. Your twin sister deserves it. My parents said it countless times, slowly, confidently, like it was a fact written on stone. I was 8 when I first heard it, 26 when I finally understood what it meant. My twin sister, Sabrina, and I shared everything when we were young. The same birthday. The same toys. The same silly braids Mum would weave into our hair. But somewhere along the way, maybe around age 10, my parents simply chose her. Chose her for the good things, the big things, the blessings. And chose me for the responsibilities, the expectations, the lectures. I didn't complain. I just worked. They said she deserved everything. I believed I had to earn anything. By the time we were 26, that little childhood imbalance had grown into a mountain. Sabrina had become a glamorous social media darling with millions of followers, brand deals, and a lifestyle built on glitter. I had become the quiet one, an accountant in Miami with a decent salary, my own small condo, and a habit of staying out of family drama. But nothing could have prepared me for the day my parents called an emergency family meeting. They said they wanted to discuss the future. I arrived at their home expecting talk of retirement, health, maybe even plans to downsize. But what I walked into was a full-blown inheritance distribution ceremony, even though my parents were very much alive, healthy, and, frankly, dramatic. My mother sat on the couch, smiling proudly. My father stood with a folder in his hand like he was announcing the winner of a grand prize. Sabrina already knew. She was glowing. I should have walked out the moment I felt that shift in the air, but I stayed. I sat. I listened. And I watched my parents change my life with a single sentence. We have decided, my father said, clearing his throat, that everything we have built will be given to Sabrina. I blinked. Everything, as in what? My mother responded, smiling shamefully softly. The cars, the rental apartments, the businesses. All of them. My heart thudded. My father opened the folder. The 3 new BMWs, all Sabrina's. The 18 rental apartments in Fort Lauderdale, Sabrina's. The 4 businesses in Florida, 2 restaurants, 1 logistics company, 1 beauty spa, also Sabrina's. My mouth went dry. I felt my throat tighten. I looked at them. Then at Sabrina. Then back at them. Why? I finally asked. And they said it. We gave everything to Sabrina because we believe in her beauty, popularity, and social image and influence would make the ideal face of our family legacy. What? I couldn't believe what I just heard. How could you do such a thing? I asked them. This is not fair, I said. But they cared less of me. Just like that. They gave no more explanation. No justification, and there was no tangible logic behind the decision they took. But they still went by their words. Just that sentence. Calm, confident, and cruel. I didn't argue again. I didn't scream again. I simply stood up, nodded, and walked out. Because in that moment, I realized something painful but freeing. I had never been part of their family. Not really. Not in the ways that mattered. That night, I went home, opened my laptop, and poured myself into work like nothing had happened. I didn't tell friends. I didn't tell coworkers. I didn't even cry. I simply detached. Cut the emotional cord like a quiet amputation. 3 weeks passed. 3 peaceful weeks without their voices in my life. Then my phone rang. My father. At first, I thought he was calling to check on me. But the universe had a sense of humor. Hello. I answered. His voice cracked immediately. Our mortgage is due. I frowned. Okay. We need money, he continued. There were some unexpected issues with the rental properties. The beauty spa isn't doing well. The restaurants need repairs. And the mortgage payment is. I cut him off. Not because I was being rude, but because I finally felt something I had never felt before. Clarity. I'm sorry, I said. But why don't you ask your successor? Silence. Complete, stunned silence. You mean Sabrina? He whispered. Yes, I replied. She's the owner now, right? He inhaled sharply. But you've always helped us financially. You've always been the responsible one. Exactly, I said. I was the responsible one. But you chose her. So, ask her. I ended the call and placed my phone face down. I wasn't angry. I wasn't spiteful. I was simply done. But that was only the beginning. Because what happened next? What unfolded over the next few weeks? Completely destroyed their perfect little empire. And built mine. It took exactly 3 weeks after my father's call for everything to crumble. First, Sabrina refused to pay their mortgage. She posted a video the same day, dancing in front of a beach house in the Bahamas with some influencer friends. Champagne, bikinis, neon lights. Her caption read, "Soft life only. I don't do responsibilities. I do luxury." Comments poured in. Laughing emojis. Praise. Fans screaming goals. Meanwhile, my parents were near tears. They called me again. And again. And again. I ignored them. They finally showed up at my condo building, begging at the lobby. But I didn't come down. That same week, tenants from the rental apartments started filing complaints. Maintenance was overdue. Water leaks. Broken ACs. Electrical issues. Unpaid contractors. Sabrina blocked them all. The businesses? Even worse. One restaurant failed inspection. The spa workers quit because Sabrina kept using the spa rooms for her influencer content days, taking photos with products she didn't even own the rights to promote. Within 2 weeks, the logistics company was sued for unpaid shipping claims. By the 3rd week, my parents were drowning. They finally realized something they refused to see for 26 years. You can't give an empire to someone who has never built anything before. But here's the twist. I didn't step in. I didn't save them. I didn't offer advice. Because their downfall was their own creation. All I did was watch. Silently. Calmly. Almost relieved. The final blow came during a family meeting they tried to force. They asked me to come to the house. I didn't respond. So my mother sent a long message begging. Please, just come. Your father is losing his mind. Sabrina is overwhelmed. We need your help. Please, darling. Darling. The same woman who said her other daughter deserved everything now wanted the one she discarded. I arrived, not for them, but for closure. When I walked into the living room, they were all there. My father pacing. My mother wiping tears. Sabrina scrolling on her phone like she was bored. The moment I entered, they lit up. Finally. My mother cried. You can fix this. I sat down. Slowly. Calmly. Before we talk, I said, I need to ask something. My father nodded eagerly. Anything. Why? I asked. Did you give everything to Sabrina? Really? They both froze. Then my mother said something so shocking, so absurd, so heartbreaking. It changed everything. My mother looked at my father. My father looked at Sabrina. And Sabrina, our golden girl, rolled her eyes as if the question annoyed her. My father finally exhaled and sat down. It's simple, he said. Sabrina has the image to carry our legacy. I blinked. Image. Yes. My mother jumped in quickly. She's the beautiful one. The public one. The charismatic one. You're, well, you're more reserved. People don't really notice you. I stared at them, unsure if I should laugh or cry. They weren't talking about competence. They weren't talking about work ethic. They weren't talking about responsibility. No. They gave her everything because she was pretty and popular. That was it. And, my father continued awkwardly, you've always done well on your own. You don't need help. Sabrina does. There it was. They didn't choose her because she deserved it. They chose her because they thought she was weak. I sat back slowly as that truth settled. So you handed her an empire, I said, because you believed she couldn't survive without it. My mother whispered, well, yes. And you gave me nothing, I added, because you assumed I could carry myself. Silence swallowed the room. Then Sabrina laughed loudly, tossing her hair. Whatever. Can we wrap this up? I have a photo shoot in an hour. My father snapped at her. Sabrina, this is serious. Our house is at risk. She shrugged. Ask a bank. Ask your accountant. Ask anyone. This isn't my vibe. Then she stood, grabbed her bag, and walked upstairs, leaving her parents drowning in the consequences of their own choices. My father broke first. He dropped into a chair, face buried in his hands. My mother followed, holding her forehead like she had a migraine. I simply watched. For the first time in my life, I felt seen. Not by them, but by myself. For once, I understood that their favoritism wasn't a reflection of my worth. It was a reflection of their blindness. My mother finally wiped her eyes and said, we need you. Please, sweetheart. Help us save the businesses. Help us save the house. I inhaled deeply. Remained quiet for a moment. Then I asked, did you ever stop to think how it felt when you said, over and over, that Sabrina deserves it? My mother looked at the floor. My father whispered, we truly believed she did. And you truly believed I didn't? I asked. They stayed silent. I stood up and smoothed my shirt. Let me tell you what I believe. They looked up with desperate expectation. I believe, I said softly, that every decision has consequences. My father swallowed. We know. We're paying for them. No, I corrected. You're only paying for the first layer of consequences. The real consequence is that you lost the only child who actually cared. My mother gasped. Don't say that. It's the truth, I cut in. You pushed me out for years. I didn't leave. You removed me from your family long ago, when you decided my existence wasn't worth investing in. My father stood as if to reach for me. We can fix this. No, I replied. You can't. But you can experience what it feels like to stand on your own. Just like I did. Their faces crumpled. I took a step toward the door. My mother's voice trembled. Are you saying you're abandoning us? I turned slightly. No. I'm saying I'm giving you exactly what you gave me. Their jaws tightened in unison. It was a sentence they'd never expected to hear. I walked out. And this time, I didn't look back. After that meeting, everything accelerated. The restaurants closed within a month. The logistics company bought out by a competitor after a lawsuit drained the accounts. The spa seized for unpaid rent. The rental apartments, half vacant, half litigation nightmares. And the BMWs, all repossessed one by one. Sabrina finally panicked when her influencer deals dried up. Her soft life-only persona collapsed under the weight of unpaid taxes and legal notices she didn't understand. One night, she called me. For the first time in our adult lives, she cried. Not influencer tears. Not dramatic tears. Real, messy, painful tears. "I can't do this," she sobbed. "I don't know how to fix anything." I listened quietly. She whispered, "They always pampered me. They never taught me anything." There it was. The truth she had never admitted. "They set me up to fail," she said finally. And that was the moment I stopped seeing her as my rival and started seeing her as what she truly was. Another victim of our parents' obsession with favoritism. I took a long breath. "I'm not going to rescue you. But I'll teach you." She sniffed. "Teach me what?" "How to build something of your own," I replied. "If you want that." After a long silence, she whispered, "I do." That was the beginning of her real growth. Not the curated Instagram growth. Not the motivational caption growth. Real growth. Uncomfortable, humbling, transformative. 3 months later, my parents' house officially entered foreclosure. They asked me to attend the final hearing. I didn't. They still believed that showing up would magically make me take responsibility. But I didn't. I wouldn't. I couldn't. Not because I lacked compassion, but because enabling them would have destroyed me again. They moved into a small rented house outside Orlando. A far cry from the mansion they once flaunted. My mother sent a short message. "We were wrong." My father sent another. "We see it now." But I didn't reply. Forgiveness wasn't impossible, but it wasn't instantaneous either. Some wounds don't heal on command. While their world burned, mine was rising. I received a promotion at the firm, senior financial consultant. I bought a beautiful townhouse in Miami. I invested in a startup logistics software that took off 6 months later and tripled my shares. I took salsa classes, joined a hiking club, started traveling, made new friends. And perhaps the most shocking twist? Sabrina started spending time with me. Not as a spoiled sister. Not as a rival. Not as a princess expecting favors. But as a student. A learner. A young woman trying to rebuild her life from ground zero. We met every Sunday. I taught her budgeting, taxes, strategy, management, accountability. She struggled, cried sometimes, but she grew. She finally learned what I had always known. Who you become matters more than what you are given. One day she told me, everything they gave me was a burden. But what you teach me, that's a gift. I didn't cry, but my heart did something strange, something warm. We were twins, after all. And maybe for the first time, we were actually sisters. It took a full year before I agreed to meet my parents again. We sat at a small diner, neutral ground. No mansions. No symbolism. Just a table and 4 chairs. They looked older, quieter. Humbleness changes a person's posture. My father spoke first. "We failed both our daughters." My mother nodded, eyes glassy. "We thought we were helping. We didn't realize we were hurting you both in different ways." I listened. They apologized. Not dramatic. Not manipulative. Not rehearsed. Just sincere. I didn't hurry my reply. Then I finally said, "Thank you for apologizing." My mother exhaled shakily. "Can we start again?" I thought about Sabrina. Her growth. Her humility. Her effort. I thought about myself, the life I'd built, the crown I placed on my own head, the peace I carved out with my own hands. And I said, "We can start. But nothing goes back to the way it was. We build something new." They both nodded eagerly. Yes. New is fine. New is good. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. It wasn't a full reconciliation. But it was a beginning, one built on truth instead of favoritism. 2 years later, people began to whisper a certain rumor. That the quiet, unnoticed twin, the one they never invested in, had become the most successful person in the family. The accounting firm made me a partner. The startup I invested in went public. And the townhouse became a sanctuary, warm, calm, filled with plants and sunlight. Sabrina launched her own small skincare line, responsibly managed, carefully planned, profitable. And she built it herself. Our parents lived a simpler life now. No empire. No flashy cars. Just quiet days and humility. They visited us sometimes, not to ask for money, but to spend time together. We weren't the perfect family. But we were healing. Slowly. Gently. Honestly. And sometimes, when people asked me how I managed to stay so calm after everything, I would smile and say, I learned to stop seeking approval from people who were never looking at me. I built my own table, and I invited only those who knew how to sit with respect. But there was one more thing I would never say out loud. The sentence that started it all. Your twin sister deserves it. They said it confidently. But in the end, the universe showed them who the real successor was. And it wasn't the sister who was given everything. It was the sister who built herself from nothing. Moral lessons. In life, never measure your worth by the way others treat you, because some people are blinded by their own biases and fears. Your value does not decrease just because someone fails to recognize it. Sometimes, the greatest blessing is being forced to build yourself without applause, because the strength you gain can never be taken from you. Let this story remind you that favoritism destroys, entitlement cripples, and resilience saves. If you've ever been overlooked, pushed aside, or underestimated, don't let bitterness consume you. Let growth guide you. Focus on developing your skills, nurturing your character, and becoming someone your future self will be proud of. And when life finally brings you full circle, rise with grace, not to prove others wrong, but to prove to yourself that you were capable all along.